We are live on Proline TV, horse racing coverage, thoroughbred style, following the 2025 Kentucky Derby. Thanks for tuning in to our live broadcast. I'm your host, Greg DePalma. Joining me, as always, from the Raggers and Sheets, Mr. John Hardoon. How's it going, John?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, it was one of those weekends. It certainly was, and it's like I said about a month ago. It's fun to be right, because you just, it's when you're right, it's fun. When things aren't going well, it sucks. But things have been going very well for us all year, and it was a great weekend. Starting with the Kentucky Oaks, and then of course the Derby. So we're going to get into all that. We're going to take a look at everybody's comments from this past week. There was a lot of those. And we're also going to take a look ahead, of course, at this week, as we have two races from Aqueduct, and they are going to be the Ruffian and the Peter Pan. We're not doing the Man of War, even though that's a great two stakes race, because there's only 5 horses and a 3-to-5 shot. So good going. You would have thought this was Santa Anita. Anyway.
Well, they have 5 stake races. They have one with a short field. I mean,
2.
Okay, well, they have a couple with real big fields too. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not normal for them to be like Santa Anita. That's why I pointed it out. It's like, well, what do you think? You're Santa Anita with the 5-horse, 6-horse graded stakes fields? By the way, that 6th race actually looks like it's a good one with three really good horses going up against each other. That John A. Nerude race. That's the grade 3 race.
Nerude, yeah. Okay.
Nerude?
Yeah,
and I believe that's the 7th. I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say Jan?
Yes, that was his name. He was a trainer for many years. He's in the Hall of Fame. And
okay. Well, then I want to get that right. Jan Nerude.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 really good horses: 3-to-1, 4-to-1, and 6-to-5. I mean, their numbers like 4, 5s recently, so that'll be a good one. But there's only 6, so we decided to do the 10th and the 11th. We have bigger fields there. And obviously the Peter Pan, which is still, even though it's a grade 3 race, it does have a little bit more popularity even, don't you think, than the Man of War?
Yeah, it's all right. I didn't look at it yet, to be honest with you, because I thought they were calling for rain. So I figured I would wait till closer. I mean, today's only...
If we get the same weatherman that we got last week, then anything's possible. Because even though we did the live show on Tuesday, it's still, we went into the Louisville YouTube route, and we got the weatherman, and he said that it was going to be clearing up on Friday and then really dry on Saturday, and that's not what happened. So,
by the way, we also said that track dries very fast.
Yes.
And the only problem is if it never stops raining, it doesn't get an opportunity.
No. So, and it is supposed to rain. Now it's Thursday now, so at least we're only a day away, 2 days away, but they do call for a lot of rain tomorrow, 90%, an inch. So with that much rain, even though they say it's going to be mostly sunny on Saturday, how do they do with the drying up at Aqueduct? History-wise,
the track will be sealed. They do have turf courses. It's hit and miss, Greg. I would assume there's a chance the track will be off, but not bad. So
okay, all right. So let's talk about, first of all, before we talk about the Derby, let's talk about the Oaks, because that was the order of the races, and you were very, very confident about the morning line favorite. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. When a horse is really good, you just back the horse. That's exactly what you decided to do with Good Cheer. Brad Cox's horse is now 7 for 7.
Yeah, we try to get to 13 in, who ends up running 4th, I believe, for the try. Remember, we played a cold exacta over Anna's, whatever her name was, and the Promise. The 12 horse, Anna's Promise. And then a try, with Good Cheer with Anna's Promise. Didn't work out, but we were close. And listen, we said Anna's Promise. I mean, we said that Good Cheer was going to win. And whatever.
And 6-5 is actually not bad for
No,
a
not only that,
horse that's 6 for 6.
You could have played a cold double to Sovereignty in the next.
That's right. That is exactly right. Of course, that's why you're the man. That's why you're the expert, and I'm just here for the show.
Entertainment purposes.
Yeah, pretty much. I try. So there you go. There's Good Cheer's win. Rather convincing over the 4 Drexel Hill. That actually played. That's a long shot right there. So
yeah, that was another 30 or 40 to 1 shot. Yes.
Yeah. So that's exactly what you try to do, and it worked out for anyone who took the long shot, the 4 horse. All right. So here's the big one, the Derby. Look at these unfortunate conditions, but
watch this race. Watch what the 1 does coming out of the gate. He ends up in the 5 path. He knocked out a lot of horses inside, but again, 20 horses. What could you expect? There was a horse in the race that we actually liked that had major trouble in the race. Keep an eye on Burnham Square. Go watch the replay and only watch.
Oh, it happened in where did it happen?
It happens down the backstretch. He gets totally shut off. Brian Hernandez won to the rail. He was on Burnham Square. If you remember last year, Mystic Dan, he rode to victory and he tried to give this horse the same ride. He went right to the rail. He just got shut off and literally was forced to check out.
Okay. And again, Burnham Square is the 9 horse. Even though he had, I guess, he had the same position, right? Or did he have the 8th position? All right. Anyway.
Well, everyone had the same numbers. It doesn't matter what position they were. So, yes, he was the 9. So he got totally shut off. And, if you watch the race a few times, you'll pick it up.
And it's going to be coming up here?
It happened down the backstretch. There, I think that's him right there, the 9 with the red silks. Now watch the 6. Go right in front of him.
Right here. Okay.
And then he checks out of the race. Right there.
Okay. And he finished like what, 6th, 7th?
No, I think he finished 8th or 9th. It doesn't matter. I'm just pointing it out. You can't
actually finished 6th.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it now, but that would have really been some bonanza if he ever gotten the money. But it is.
And then this happened. It's funny because just as the seas parted, and you see the 2 top horses in the field, even right here at this point, it's like, and you don't have a whole lot of time to process it, of course, but the quickness of the processing is like that 1 or 2 seconds. You're like, this is awesome. We got the 2 horses. This is it. We got this is what we wanted. It happened. All that thoughts like trying to go to, and then boom. And then of course you want your horse to win, obviously. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we like the horses that ran 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And the other horse was Burnham Square, who had trouble, who would have been in if he didn't, my opinion.
So there was no excuse at all for journalism going down the stretch. It was mano a mano and Sovereignty.
He got beat by a better horse on Saturday. That's all.
That's it. And look, good credit for journalism because none of this
affected him. Journalism. He ran terrific.
Nothing affected him. It was, we talked about the bigger
the rest
field.
Of the field. He ran as good as he could run, and the other horse just is a little better at this point. And remember, it was a wet track. He's never been on a wet track. So the question is if he's going to really bring him back in the Preakness. I hope he doesn't. There's no point to run him. You're only going to squeeze the juice out of him. The only horse that should be running isn't running because that's Bill Mott, and he has the right to do what he wants with his horse. And he's an old-time horseman. Listen, over the last 5 years, Bill Mott ran 58 horses back on 14 days or less. The last 5 years, 58 horses. Guess how many won?
0?
No, he's 3 for 50, 3 for 58. I mean, so he knows his horses. Listen, he's a Hall of Fame trainer for a reason.
Okay, so do you think that is this statistically speaking, is this new where we're seeing more and more horses opting out of the Preakness?
No. How many times do you see? You don't see it often. No. Listen,
No,
that people all over Twitter and everything. Let's change the rules. Let's make it a month between.
no,
That's bull nonsense.
no,
You know,
absolutely not.
the reason it's a triple crown and it's hard to do is because it's a hard thing.
It's hard to do. Yes.
I mean, it took from 1978 to after affirmed, and they had
Yeah, it was up
Seattle
to
flu
just
affirmed and what till Justify one, and then American Pharaoh, whatever. So there's a reason for it.
Yep.
Don't
And
ruin
that's
the
what we
game.
love about it.
Listen, just because a team can't score, don't make it like a first down is now 1st and 7 yards, or don't give them 5 downs to make a first down. That's what they're doing by wanting to change the dates on all the, on these races. It's a ridiculous thing. It comes up every year. Anytime there's not a triple crown winner or something goes wrong, listen, Mott's doing this because he wants this horse to be around all year. Not only that, this is a terrific crop. You have some really good horses here. You have Baeza, who's getting better with each start. You have Journalism, who was terrific. You have Sovereignty, who's terrific. You have Burnham Square, who I'm a big fan of. So these are 4 or 5 horses you're going to see all year for the rest of the year. If they burn them in now, there'll be nothing left.
Still, it's unfortunate. That's as a fan.
Yeah,
that's
I
what we
understand. You have a right to be upset if you're a fan. Obviously, it's good for the game if you get a triple crown. But, it's their horse. They pay the bills. Godolphin's $1 billion operation. They don't need the breeding money. They're doing the right thing in their mind by the horse, and you got to respect it.
Speaking of Godolphin and Mott, as we turn our attention to our comments this week, the first one we're going to start off with is going to be John Wise. And by the way, we're going to get into another thing here about John in a second, but this is going to go over his comments here. So, hi, John and Greg. How did they let this horse pay almost $18? That was another thing, John.
I'll tell you what the craziest thing was. Sandman was 5-1, but
after what was that about?
I'll tell you what it was about. West Point gave 2.5% to some social media influencer that has 3 million followers, and he was plugging the horse, and all of them were betting at $2 or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, and I found that out after. I couldn't understand it. I did a show last Friday night in the South Point. And I said that Sandman was the worst 5-1 shot I have ever seen in the history of the Derby.
Wow. That's an awful story. But actually, it's good for us whenever we keep doing that every year. That'll help our odds for the better horses, the real horses. Just don't touch the horses we like, please. All right. So anyway, back to John's comment. Let's see. Also had a very, very nice Oaks Derby double. As I heard John say, Good Cheer cannot lose. I want to thank you and John again for the strong opinions on Good Cheer and Sovereignty. Sovereignty is another example of back-to-back numbers, or as John describes, as paired-up numbers in his last 2 races. Sovereignty was a very, very strong play. I believe that Junior Alvarado, Bill Mott, and Godolphin were rewarded through karma for the role they all contributed to with the way they lovingly and compassionately treated Cody Dorfman and his family. The story of Cody's wish is a story for all of us to learn from. Regards again from Brooklyn, New York. Now you can back the truck up so I can load all the money I am sending you. A thank you for your help in conquering the 2025 Kentucky Derby. Thanks again. Be safe, John Wise. John already donated money last week. I just haven't noticed whether he's done it yet this week. But that's also a nice segue just to let everybody know, in case you haven't done it before. We have the thanks icon on the bottom of the video, and you can donate anything, anytime, $1, whatever you want for any reason, and it helps to obviously contribute to the program. You can also subscribe, like, and share, and those are obviously free. All right, so the next one comes from Ruben Garza, and Ruben may need to use the thanks icon. Ruben said, I got John's sheets for the first time Saturday. Wow, great timing. Saturday was the best Derby day I've ever had. In 2018, I had Rich Strike to win for $7, but that was pure luck. On this Derby, I had $50 on Sovereignty to win. I hit the exacta 20 times, 440, the trifecta 10 times for over 1,000, and the superfecta once for $1, 1,600. I'm new to this and have never bet more than $100 on a race before. I started the day with 500 and left the track with 3,900. I love you guys a lot. I did want to get John's opinion on American Promise. It looked like he tried to force his way through between CB and Neoquist and ruined the race for all three of them. What the hell was the jockey thinking trying to force his way through with no hole? I thought he had a chance and would like to know what John thinks about that horse moving forward.
Well, I mean, you can't listen. He would try to go through a hole that wasn't there. We discussed him on the show. He was really kind of slow off the sheets. We didn't really like him, and I don't like him going forward. That's the Lucas horse. I think he's coming back in the Preakness, actually.
Of course he is.
Yeah, of course he doesn't.
That's Lucas.
Right.
He's
and
by
by
the
way,
horse into the ground.
Take your 3,900 and retire while you're ahead.
Yeah, it's the first time. Absolutely, 100%. And
it's only downhill from here, I promise.
Yes, that's it. Great advice.
Go buy your wife a gift or buy yourself something. And
Mother's Day is on Sunday. Yes.
Right. Don't put that money back through the windows. You earned it the old-fashioned way, so spend it and enjoy it. And every time you look at whatever you bought with it, you'll remember that was from the Derby.
That's
but don't go back and bet it. Please.
No. And if you do, make sure it's like 1% of what you have. That's all. Take your time. Also, some other comments. This is from BB87787. These are the sharpest two public cappers I've seen. I'm not a public capper, but thank you. John is. So many bozos out there. All right. We appreciate that. BB87787. Let's see. This is from the playbook interview you did last week. Curtis Clark. Of course, John was a guest on our show here on the channel. John, I remember when Roger Stein used to compliment Vegas about free parking. So that was like something that we talked about with all the crazy prices going on at the casinos in Vegas and they're charging whatever. What are they charging? Like $24?
The South Point Hotel where I was at is one of the few hotels that still have free parking.
That should be an advantage then.
I
would go there. What's the difference? I mean, they all have the same wagering opportunities, don't they? Most of these
the same
casinos.
Money is paid in all these. Yeah, it's still American dollars.
Let's see. Ed Burke, 537. Outstanding show, Greg and John. Greg, don't sweat the fraction thing. 7 out of 4 people have issues with fractions. Very nice, Ed. And I think it's important because the next one, Nick, Tecle, Techley. Sorry, guys. As soon as I heard 1 mile and 18ths from you guys, I have to turn it off. So what I did was
1 mile and 18. What's he talking about?
Because of when I
big deal.
Last week.
You know what? He was the big loser by turning it off. Okay,
and that's exactly what I told him. I replied to him after the show.
Why did he come back and listen again? Because that you did a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that was no. That was the one that I did. Yeah, last week was just a simple.
Yeah,
I just read it wrong. That's all.
Okay.
The one from a month ago, that was where I screwed up because
we don't charge anyone to be here. If you don't like it, there are 79 million shows you could listen to. Don't listen to us.
And that's why he said he would. And again, I replied to him and made sure he understood. Well, I guess you missed our winning picks then. So it's more important for Nick to worry about you making sure that you don't have a slip of the tongue than to get winning picks.
That's it. $17 horses, $48 exactas, $245 try. Go ahead.
But our grammar, our English grammar just isn't on par. Maybe he's an English teacher. Let's see. Jeff Hockman, fantastic show, Greg and John. Stacks 54.97. Great show, guys. Thank you. Douglas Wilson says, nice hat, John. So that was the hat you were wearing last week. What was the hat you were wearing last week?
Still wearing it. It's a Derby hat, 151.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, there you go. Why not wear it after last week? Let's see. Mark, Y5M5E. Dancer's Image was the first Kentucky Derby horse to be disqualified. It was a post-race DQ similar to Medina Spirit. And I thank Mark for that because we mentioned one of the other disqualifications. And it's crazy because obviously not everything is right on the internet. And so the first thing that you see, like if you put in disqualification, like first time ever for Kentucky Derby, the very first thing you see is them say that, I forget which one it was from a couple of years ago, was the first disqualification. And obviously that wasn't the case. There was this disqualification, as Mark pointed out. And this was,
those were medication violations. The one that you're talking about that was never before is when they took down maximum security and put up the
Mandaloun.
Yeah, something house, the house horse.
Oh, a country house,
right?
Bill Mott's horse. Yes.
Right. So this time Mott won it the right way. He said
that's right.
He was a very classy individual.
Absolutely, yes. It's too bad he didn't get a better interviewer who asked him if he was going to be running in the Preakness, which I understand he would have not given him much of an answer, but you've got to ask the question. And then Don E. Marshall, Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, has 3 offsprings racing in the Derby. He mentioned that it was Luxor Cafe publisher and American Promise, and that didn't help either.
By the way, the Japanese horses remain Ulfer. So,
yep. What was the best he did was 12th, I think.
And Steve Asmussen also remains Ulfer at this point, but he's a great trainer and eventually will win the Derby.
Yep, he's just got to get it right. Are there any trainers? Is there like a best of trainers that have never won the Derby ranking?
No, but I'm sure Asmussen would be right on top. No,
hey, let us know what you guys think. Give us a best of trainers who have never won the Kentucky Derby. I'd like to know what our very smart audience thinks. Okay, so that was last week. It is now time to keep going here because it never stops. And the money that we made on the Derby, we can make the same amount of money in this week's races. So it's all for entertainment, and that's why we were very highly entertained last week. But now we got to go right back to it and see if we can keep the streak going. And we're going to get 2 races from Aqueduct. Belmont at the Big A, as they want to call it. How much longer is that going on for?
Till they reopen Belmont in about a year or 2. Who knows?
So that means we got to still deal with Saratoga getting the Triple Crown for 2 more years?
This year for sure. Possibly. Yeah, I would say next year also for sure. Yeah.
Is the distance the same?
No. It's
so they don't even give you that, huh?
No, it's 1.25 miles at Saratoga. It's 1.5 miles at Belmont. And that's the beauty of the Triple Crown. They go longer and longer.
And I'll tell you right now, I don't know, doubtful if this was part of his thinking, but if it was me, I was thinking about whether or not I want to run my horse or not, and I was on the fence, what would tip me over? I don't want an asterisk next to my horse.
Exactly. That's another good point. It would have been a Triple Crown with an asterisk if he wins. So, You know what? Keep your Triple Crown.
That's 100%. That's the way I would have thought.
It's going to be interesting, by the way, to see who comes back in the Belmont at Saratoga. You're going to probably see journalism, especially if he doesn't run in the Preakness. You're going to see the winner, Sovereignty, and you're going to see Baeza. So there you go. That's going to be another great race.
Oh, yeah. And were there any horses that skipped the Derby, like any good ones that you know for sure should run in the Preakness?
Well, you had a couple of horses that got hurt. You had Rodriguez, who was forced to scratch. You had Grande, the Pletcher horse, who was forced to scratch. But I think he's on the vets list, so I don't think he's eligible to run yet. You need 14 days off if you're a vet scratch. So, but for sure, Rodriguez is entered anyway.
Okay. So, and we'll find out when is the what do we got next this weekend?
A week from tomorrow. A week from Saturday is the Preakness.
No, I mean, when do we know the field? Is it this Saturday? Next Saturday, I mean. That's right. It is this Saturday. We should know, right? Yeah. This Saturday, yeah.
Probably
Saturday, Sunday,
Monday, maybe.
Monday. Okay. Yeah. And these fields are usually pretty small, right? The Preakness.
No, they're not going to be that small. You'll have 12, 14.
Oh, we will. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
I hope so.
All right. Yeah, because I know sometimes it's been like 7 or 8.
Especially with Sovereignty not showing up, no one's going to be scared away.
Yep, that's it. Okay, so let's. We got 10 and 11 at Aqueduct, and this one, actually the first one is the Ruffian, and this is a mile race. This is for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. The morning line favorite is the 10, My Main Squeeze, a 7-2 shot. And My Main Squeeze is coming off an 8. His last time out, which was actually his first race since October. So that was a pretty nice run there. He had never run an 8 before. His first single digit sheet number for My Main Squeeze, and he is the favorite of the race. So let's go through this field. There are 11 horses in the field, and we are going to start with the 1, Take the Money Honey, a 10-1 shot who has a 16, 12, 10, 12. This is going to be the first race. What really sticks out, of course, is the fact that this will be the first race that he'll have without Lasix. So all 4 of his races were with Lasix. Now he's going no Lasix. He's 10-1, so that's the good point, and he's won 3 out of 4 races.
And the best race of his life was her life, I should say, was 2 starts back. Where? At Aqueduct.
At Aqueduct, at a mile.
Thank you. Oh, you're getting a price. I'm using this horse underneath. I don't know if she's good enough to win, but at the price, listen, she's 3 for 4 lifetime. You make an excellent point. She's off of Lasix. But one thing, we know 2 things for sure. First of all, she can handle a wet track. She's 1 for 1 over a wet track. And she likes Aqueduct, and she likes the mile. So all that being said, why not use her? She's going to be a price.
And that is definitely the key there, as you said, John, is the 10-1. So go for it. By the way, Todd Pletcher, this is a Pletcher horse, and you got a Red Ortiz Jr. too, so that doesn't hurt. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong race.
Wrong race.
All right. Get this out of here. Here it is.
It's a Michael Moore horse.
Yeah, so it's a Michael Moore horse, not the film producer.
No, but he's a pretty good trainer at Parks. You know, he ships into New York, has some success. At Parks, he does a terrific job. But this is the major leagues, and this is a real race. And again, horse ran well, 2 starts back at Aqueduct. Why not use her?
And he's always been up front pretty much. So and he's got that 1 post position. So how's the 1 post position at Aqueduct for a big race, a big field?
You never want to be stuck on the inside if you don't have to, but listen, it is what it is. It's not that bad. Could be worse.
All right. And again, he's 10-1. Okay, so next up, we have the 2, a long shot, Morning Matcha. This is a closer, second race in 8 months, similar to Take the Money Honey. So actually not, no, I was looking at the wrong one. But Morning Matcha is coming off of 15. So he hadn't raced since September. But overall, he's got some 11s and 12s, but he also has some 15s and 16s thrown in there.
Yeah, the good thing she has going for her is it is her second start back off of a layoff, so she may have needed her last race because her previous race was back in September of last year. So she was coming off of a 6 or 7 month layoff. You know, she has a shot to move forward, but she looks like a lot of other horses in the race, and I think you have better options.
And by the way, I just want to, because I was looking at the wrong one, keep in mind this horse, the 1 horse, sheet numbers were 16, 12, 10, 12. Okay, so we'll talk about that other horse in the next race. But just so go back, if you wrote that down, just scratch it out. The 1 horse, 16, 12, 10, 12. Okay, let's go with the 3, and that is Catherine Wheel. Catherine Wheel. And this is an 8-1 shot. And you got Chad Brown and Pratt combo at 8-1. Ran a 9 pretty much out of nowhere in March. Then bounced right back to a 16, which she had run in February. So really, if you look at the numbers, this 9 kind of came out of nowhere. But she's 7 for 7. Chad Brown and Fabian Pratt combo. But it's also interesting that a horse that's 7 for 7 with Brown and Pratt are 8-1. And that's why. I mean, he's only had one really big race.
They're not 7 for 7. They're 7 for 7.
7 for 7 and the money. With 2
well,
wins.
That's a big difference than going 7 for 7. You make it sound like she's undefeated, and she was defeated. So I don't like this horse. If you could tell me, guarantee she's going to run the 9. And by the way, the 9 that she ran 2 starts back was with Lasix. She came off of Lasix last time out. I don't really like this horse, and I think she's going to be less than the 8-1 you see.
Yeah, and because of that, there's just no value on that horse. All right, the 4, This is definitely a horse in play. That is Sterling Silver, a 9-2 shot. So this is the second morning line choice. Mott's back. He hasn't stopped training. Castellano Mott combo. Matter of fact, this is only one of 2 horses in the field that is 6 years old. All the other horses, 9 of them are 4-year-olds. This is one of the horses, though, just like actually, we haven't even gotten to it yet. This is actually the horse that has run an 8. So you've got an 8 in April, 10 before that, both at a mile, both at Aqueduct. So the horse is really racing at a good time right now. Doesn't normally race on Lasix, so that's a good thing. Has 5 wins over the track. Yeah, there's a lot to like about Sterling Silver.
Yeah, the price is crazy, 9-2. By the way, I gave you a stat before how Mott was 3 for 58 with horses that come back in 14 days or less.
Okay.
This horse was one of the 3 wins that he had over the last 5 years. If you look at the 2 races at Saratoga last year, he ran on July 24th and then came back on August 7th.
And ran 2:11.
Yeah, she ran. I'm just pointing it out. It's funny because we brought up that stat earlier, and here it is. It jumps up at us. Problem I have with this horse is that she is off an 8. So you got to go back 2 years to see where she repeated numbers. She didn't repeat 8 since 2 years ago when she ran one in June of 25th and then came back on July 29th. That's the only time she ever put 8s together. She has run other 8s in her life, but she's never put them together. She always goes backwards off of it. But what's interesting about the horse is that she's solid. She likes an off track. She has the 8 at Aqueduct last time out, and she's 9-2. So for all those reasons, this was a possible key for me in the race.
Yeah, I don't even know if we mentioned the off-track thing with that 1 either. So the 1 is 1 for 1 on an off-track as well.
But the race 2 starts back. Well, the last race was on a wet track where she won at Laurel, but the race 2 starts back was also at Aqueduct at a mile. So
yeah, and again, we're not expecting it, but you never know. All right, so the 5 is another long shot at 20-1. Here's the kicker. This is one of 3 straight Safi Joseph trained horses. So he's got the 5, 6, and the 7. First time in I think 6 races where this horse will be racing without Lasix. It's been one of those runs, but she does have 2 11s in her last 4 races, including an 11 in her last race at a mile at Gulfstream. She went wire to wire.
Yeah, but, she's kind of slow. She's got only 2 11s in her life. Listen, it's Safi Joseph, so she's going to get bet. She's 20-1. I mean, she's on the bubble for me, to be honest with you. If she's really 20-1, I would include her. But she's coming out of optional claiming races, so this is really a step up as far as company's concerned. She never raced against this caliber horse before. Like, look at Sterling Silver. Sterling Silver's been in stake races every race in the racing form. She ran in the Bishop's Rose, the Bay Ridge, the Empire Distaff, so she's used to this kind of company. Not that the horses could read the racing form or anything, but that being said, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at something because I was noticing, what was I looking at? What race is this? So this is race number 10. And I was going back because you were talking about, there it is, Sterling Silver. Yeah, I just wanted to look at something because you were talking about all those 8s. And one of the things that I did notice, and I am seeing that here, is this horse, even though the horse, she's getting older, the difference with those other 8s and now maybe, and look, what's who the other 2 trainers that she trained with? Not on the caliber of William Mott. So really, ever since she's gone to William Mott, maybe she deserves a little bit benefit of the doubt with this 8 this time, because like just for instance, the last 8 she had in May, she had gone from a trainer who didn't look very good all the way to Mott. So anyway, I was just looking at some of that information.
But I could contradict you with that statement you made. Since it was Mott, shouldn't we have seen the 8 way before this? He's had the horse. It's not, when a new trainer gets a horse, you look for them to usually do their best. Mott had this horse for how many races? 1, 2, 3, 4,
7.
5, 7 races before he finally got the 8th. So I don't know if that's a plus. Just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, plus she's 6 years old. That is the one thing. The other thing too is, I was looking at we'll skip that. But yeah, anyway, I don't want to be out of order here. I just thought that was something to point out. Oh, the fact that's right. The last 3 races she ran, she was the heavy favorite in those races, and now you're getting close to 5-1. So I know it's a graded stakes race.
I don't believe that price, but you're right.
Yeah. Oh, so you do think she's going to go off at a lower price?
Much lower, personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. All right. The 6 is Dazzling Move. And this is an 8-1 shot. This is another Saffie Joseph horse. You got a Red Tees Jr. here. Now this horse is coming in on pairs, but they're 13s. So she's got a way to go. I don't see why really. This horse should be a little bit better than 8. I mean, I should be getting more than 8-1, shouldn't I?
Yeah, and by the way, as far as pairs are concerned, we want to bet pairs when they're the best races of the horse's life. This horse, the 13s last time out, don't qualify for being the best races of her life. She ran 11 last year. So, for example, Sovereignty last week had 2 7s. Those were his best 2 7s, the best 2 races of his life coming in.
So that would be besides it being close to each other,
right?
Those would be the 2 things to keep an eye on with the pairs. They have to be close to each other, and they have to be the 2 best races of their career.
Correct. But you also don't want them to be if they're running 15s and then all of a sudden you see 2 10s. Well, those could be effort. So it's a fine line. We just talk about it between us, but I don't want people to get confused that are listening. So
that's okay. I'm confused all the time. All right. So, by the way, this horse, 2 of the last 3 wins were on Lasix, but her last win was not. And that was the first race with Saffie Joseph when she ran to 13 at Gulfstream, came back, did not run particularly well, even though she doubled up with the 13 right after that. Okay.
Well,
anyway,
numbers-wise, she ran fine. She ran another 13, but in any case, she's too slow. And at 8-1, you definitely have better options. The only thing the horse does have going for her is its first time Irad Ortiz. So,
and by the way, that was also something that also shows you why to look at the sheet number of 13 more important than the fact that she finished 5th, because that was a grade 1 race.
Well,
so
whatever.
She had stepped up in competition, and she's not doing that here. Now she's back to a grade 3. All right. Claret Barrett, 20-1, 7 horse. Another Saffie Joseph trained horse. Matter of fact, this is his first go around. So what do we know about Saffie Joseph when he takes on horses for the first time? Do we have any of those stats?
Well, generally they move way up. I don't need to read the stats. I know. I mean, anybody that follows the game knows that Saffie Joseph is one of the top trainers in the country, and horses seem to run for him. He took the horse from an absolute okay trainer, Greg Compton, who had a good meet at Oaklawn Park. But it is first time for Saffie. The horse actually is improving. Last year was running 15s, 14s. This year, 14, 13. But I think she's a little slow.
Yeah, she ran an 11 in October at Keeneland, and that Keeneland win. But she hasn't gone back to the 11. But she's 20-1. The 8 is Jody's Pride. Now, this is a 5-1 horse who's won both races at Aqueduct. And taking a look here at the numbers, she has improved, or she was lightly improving. She had a lot of 15s. Let's just put it that way. But she go from 17, bunch of 15s. Forget about the turf race. Then she ran the 9. She ran the 9 in January in that grade 2 race. Then she bounced to the 15, so back to 15s again. But she's been in a lot of big races.
She ran against Torpedo Anna. She ran against Mystic Lake. She ran against good horses, no question about it. But at 5-1, you just have horses that are just as fast. 5-1, I don't need that.
No value. No. Got to get better than that. All right. Gun Song, an 8-1 shot. Now, speaking of Torpedo Anna, Gun Song actually nearly beat Torpedo Anna. Lost that one, close one.
Well, Torpedo Anna beat her in neck last year. And there are no Torpedo Annas in this race.
No.
That being said, her last 2 races, she got beat at real short prices. 90 cents to $1, the favorite, 90 cents to $1 the race before that. So everybody keeps looking at that Torpedo Anna race and hoping that it comes back, but it's not coming back so fast. And I don't like this horse. I don't think she's going to be value, and there's no way that I think that she's going to be anywhere near 8-1. again, she went off 90 cents a dollar in the last two races.
Sure. Well, that's the thing. I
He
mean,
was coming off of Lasix also, so there's a lot not to like about this horse.
Yeah, but we have no idea about the odds, and also she's inconsistent. She's been up and down her last 10 races, at least, just on the form here. So she's had a high number, a low number, and back and forth. And if that now it's a little bit slower, a smaller confined the last two. She went from 14 to 13, but if she keeps that up, that means she's going backwards to 15. So that's just showing you what she's been doing. All of her 10 races here on the card. Okay. The 10 is the morning line favorite, My Main Squeeze. And this is the 7-2 shot coming off the 8. And that was in April, as I mentioned before. She had not raced since October when she ran 3 straight 11s, couple of 12s before that, a 10, very good lines, and then the 8 in April and in that grade 1 race. So I guess the question is, since she never ran a single digit before, that was a 2-point new top, so not a major thing. Are we too concerned at all with a bounce? Because if not, then this is going to be hard to beat this one.
Well, yeah, I'm not that concerned with a bounce, but I'm not so concerned. I'm not so sure that she's the winner. The problem I have with this horse is if you look at her races throughout her career, she was always better sprinting than going long. Last year, she ran a 10. Listen, as a 2-year-old, she ran the 19 going long, right? At the end of the year. That was basically her worst race of the year as a 2-year-old. Last year, she came out and ran a 10 right off the bat and then bounced to the 14 going a mile, where? At Aqueduct, and she won that race. So it's what we call reverse buried. She won the race with a good number. She ran that 14. Then going long again, she went backwards to the 18, sprinting a 10. Then the 12 was going long. So every time she goes long, she seems to react off of the race sprinting before that. And that's the situation. So being a favorite, I don't want to key her. I would use her, but I wouldn't be making her a lock. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the price. No question about it, because we've gone through several other horses that are not bad. So
right, and I showed you how her route races are not as good as her sprint races, and she's going the mile on Saturday.
Okay, now the 11 is a 6-1 shot. Headline numbers: you got Chad Brown and Dylan Davis. Another horse that's been inconsistent: 16, 13, 15 last year, 12, 15, 12 this year. So once again, if she keeps it up, she's going to react poorly in this race. Plus, she's got the 11 post position way outside,
but
coming off a wire-to-wire win.
The outside posts at a 1-turn mile are not a disadvantage. You'd rather be outside than inside, just as a general rule. Correct. Then she's not long enough, so I don't need her. I mean, obviously, it's Chad Brown and Dylan Davis, so they could run anything, but she's yet to run a number. Let's make this simple. And let's go with the Bill Mott horse, Sterling Silver, who's off the 8. I'm going to use the 4 with the 1, Take the Money, Honey. I'm going to include the 5. Here's the kicker at 20-1 for Saffie Joseph. And I'll use the 10, My Main Squeeze. 4 with 1, 5, and 10. And really, the 2 horses I like best in the race are the 1 and 4. Actually, the 4 and then the 1 in that order.
Okay. Yes, definitely taking the 4 in this one. And I'm going to go ahead and my long shot, I'm going to go ahead and take the 7. And I'm also going to take the 9, hoping that the odds are not as low as they might be. So I'll go 4 over 7, 9. John's going to go 4 over 1, 5, and 10. That is the Ruffian from Aqueduct. Now we turn our attention to the Peter Pan, and this is probably the biggest race of the weekend. Don't forget, generally, this is actually the only graded stakes races anywhere this weekend.
Well, this race used to be a big deal when they ran at Belmont, because this was the stepping stone to the Belmont Stakes. A lot of horses would pass the Derby and run it, or unable to run in the Derby, run in the Peter Pan, and then come back and run 3 weeks later in the Belmont Stakes at 1.5 miles. So this used to be a much bigger and important race than it is now, but they still attracted a field of 10. So let's go through it.
Mile and an eighth. This will go off about 6:45 on Saturday. And now we could talk about the one from this race. Vassimo, a 5-1 shot. Pletcher has won this race to Peter Pan 5 times. He won it last year as well. That horse, by the way, Vassimo, has got a Red Ortiz Jr. on board. And like I said before, this is the one that's 14-12, 14-12. By the way, just so you know, the morning line favorite of the race is the 8, Captain Cook, but we'll get to him in a little bit. What do you think about Vassimo with Pletcher and a Red Ortiz Jr.?
Well, all these races were out of town. They were at Fairgrounds and at Gulfstream Park. He hasn't done it at New York, and he's going to be running over this surface for the first time. He's never run over a wet track, so if there's any moisture in the track, we don't know how he's going to handle it. That being said, it's Pletcher and it's Ortiz, and the horse is improving, I guess. He's on the bubble. It will really depend on odds.
Yeah, the odds, I don't like the odds here. And then throw in the fact that in the 2 races against stiff competition, he didn't do anything. Even though, again, 14-12, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's better options. The 2 is Happily Delusional, a 20-1 shot. And just like the horse from the other race, this one's coming in with slow pairs, 2 14s. But John, these are 14s that are considered his best races.
Right.
And they have been in the last couple of months.
Yeah, before the 14s, what did he do? He paired
19.
So he paired up 19s and he made the forward move, right?
Yes, to 14-14.
So, I mean,
and he's 20-1.
You're making a case for a live 20-1 shot. I think you have faster horses in the race.
Yeah.
But
if we can make some money exotic-wise.
Maybe it tries the supers on the bottom. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. The 3, Surfside Moon. Now, Surfside Moon, look, I'm going to say that when I was going over my notes, I remember this horse, and it's because I remember the race at the Tampa Bay, at the Withers, when he lost to Captain Cook. And I remember that because I thought he ran a really good race. I mean, it was a long shot in the race, and it was a nice race. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna jot it down. I think this horse, this horse I want to keep an eye on. Well, obviously, he bounced the last time to a 16, so I don't care about that. So the fact that he did run a 12 and you are getting 8-1, this is a horse that I also am interested in.
I don't think 8-1 is long enough, to be honest with you.
Probably right, yeah.
I mean, where that 12 came from first out this year is a mystery. He had nothing as a 2-year-old that indicated that he was going to run the 12. Yep. It's kind of like a random number. He would have to do it again. But listen, he did run second to the favorite at 33-1. You're getting Junior Alvarado. I don't know. And he did that 12, by the way, was at Aqueduct at 1 1/8, same distance he's running Saturday. So for people that wanted to make a case for this horse, so there you have it.
Yeah, you're right though. I think we should get more than 8-1. So we'll see about that. And by the way, also another horse that has gone up and down on dirt, but this is a horse unlike the other race where that's a good thing. Yeah, because if he continues that, then we'll see an up trajectory race here. And yeah, Alvarado, you pointed that out, and that's an upgrade there too. Okay, next horse is the 4, Hill Road. Now we're getting to the second choice. So the Captain Cook's 2-1, Hill Road, the 4 is 5-2. Chad Brown, Pratt combo. Now we're not going to worry. We're not going to bring in pairs here, even though he's run 2 13s because the 113 was in November. Right. This one, the second one was in March at the Tampa Bay Derby. And keep in mind that Tampa Bay Derby race, he finished 3rd, and that was the first race for Brown. Just keep this in mind. That was a very slow pace.
That was Owen Almighty. Owen Almighty won that race. If you remember, speed was great that day. So he was up against it. The interesting thing about this horse is that he was entered in one of those races after that race, either Oaklawn Park or one of the big stake races, and he was sick. Okay. So Brown scratched him that day, and now he brings him back. So technically, he's only making his second start for Brown. Problem I have with this horse is the odds. He's 5-2.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's going to be short. That's the problem. But he's certainly eligible to improve. It's second time Chad Brown. The horse ran well as a 2-year-old, running the 13, equaled his number when he came out as a 3-year-old. But again, it's a game that we look for value, and this horse just doesn't offer much value. And if you're going to like another short-priced horse in the race, well, then you're going to be up against it.
Yeah, you got to try to have to. I mean, you're more than likely going to have to pick one of the two, and I'd rather have the other one. By the way, impressively, the horse did run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile race third to Citizen Bull and Gaming, and the 13 in that race.
That was the horse's first time in the country. And by the way, what has Citizen Bull done since then? Nothing really. Nope. So yes, that was last year. But again, this is a new year. The horse is fine. The problem with the horse is
the odds. Yeah, right. Not good at all. All right, the 5 is McAfee, an 8-1 shot. Velasquez, by the way, won the Peter Pan last year. And you got Dutro, one of 2 horses he's training in this race, 8-1 shot. But look, the horse didn't do anything in his first 3 races. Best was 16, and he's coming off a 12 in the Wood. And so, yeah, you're going to get a bounce here. So I don't like this horse.
I don't know if you're going to get a bounce. He's really never done anything wrong. Yes, the last race is a 4-point new top, but here's the interesting thing: Dutro's putting blinkers on. That's first of all. When he makes equipment changes, it's usually good. But he was in the same race as Captain Cook was when Rodriguez won that race in the Wood Memorial. He ran at 12. That's only 2 points away from the favorite. Listen, chances are he's going to react, but I am definitely using this horse.
It was a long shot in the Wood.
Yeah, it was 29-1.
Yeah, so here you're getting 8-1.
Yeah, but he'll go up off of that price, I think.
Okay. The 6 is Uncaged, an 8-1 shot as well. This is a Pletcher trained horse. 2 wins out of 3, 14 first, 18 in March. Then back to a 14 at Aqueduct at a mile. So he's starting to stretch it out even further here to a mile and an 8. It's 8-1. What do you think about Uncaged?
Well, I know one thing for sure. If the track comes up sloppy and it rains, that's certainly to his advantage. The 14 he ran as a 2-year-old was on the slop.
Yeah.
The 14 he ran last time out was on the slop.
Yeah.
So if it rains, it only helps him. But other than that, there's not really much to like about the horse.
Yeah, unfortunately, what will happen is if it did rain, then a lot of people are going to put money.
Yeah.
So you want to see if you can get like a sports book. I mean, unfortunately, the sports books that at least what I've seen, they'll only get to give you those fixed wagers on the big races. So I don't think they're going to give you it for the Peter Pan, but I don't know. Maybe you'll get lucky.
Peter Pan is one of those big races, but
yeah, you might get it. Yeah,
I don't know if they give you fixed odds. They tell you go bet it at the window, unless you're betting it at a future book like a month ago or whatever.
Well, the sports book actually, I was able to get fixed odds on the Derby and the Oaks.
So really?
Yeah. The only one that actually looked good was that 2-horse Equinox or whatever.
Yeah.
I got 50-1 on him like 2 days before.
But
I said, why not?
He was 54-1 the day of the Derby. So what did you gain by doing that?
No, he went down.
I don't think so. I think he was 54-1.
Well, anyway, the point was that they were giving it, so you can check out.
Okay.
Check out your sports book. You never know. Could be there. Okay. By the way, I was before I move on, just checking the comments. Kenneth Groff. Let's see. Yeah, we've kind of gone over this a lot, but I know we're getting a lot of new viewers, so we will answer your question, Kenneth. When you mentioned 16, 10, 12 numbers when handicapping a horse, and then I guess is this a continuation? Where do you get the numbers from? What past performance sheets? I'm a rookie here, so you can check out the Ragozin sheets. You can go to the sheets.com. Is that what it is, John? The sheets.com?
Yes.
Yeah, check that out. And if you type that in on Google, you can find out a lot about what we're using in order to handicap these races. And Daniel,
for people that aren't familiar, it's $40. You get the whole day's worth of races. It's not just one race. It's $40 for a set of sheets for that Saturday. If you want to go to Aqueduct, play the card, it's $40 to get all 11 races.
And Kenneth, if you start with the sheets, just keep in mind, it's like playing golf. Once you start, you get hooked. and you're never going to be able to handicap a race without them. So just keep that in mind. All right, next up is First Pitch. Wow, 50-1. At least he's getting better all three races.
Yeah, but 51 isn't even a fair price. This horse should be 200. What you have going for him is you get a big major rider switch today. First time Jose Lezcano. The barn is actually doing well, but this horse just has a long way to go to catch up to these horses.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, sure they're hoping for maybe a 15. Maybe they get 15 in there.
15 won't get you anything. So
no, I'm just saying maybe they get a 15 and in the next race. Maybe we'll keep an eye on First Pitch. All right, Captain Cook. So here is the morning line favorite at 2-1, and you are getting good pairs here, by the way, as well. You're getting 2 10s. The 10 most recently was in the Wood, as we talked about. That was the Rodriguez win. And that was actually a race that you could expect that Captain Cook was not going to be able to duplicate what he did in the Withers, because that was a 4-point new top in the Withers. So the fact that he was able to run a 10 when we felt he was probably going to bounce.
He had plenty of time between the first 10 and the second 10. He had a few months. It wasn't like it was on top of it. So that race was expected. As a matter of fact, I liked this horse last time out, and he disappointed, to be honest with you. He didn't run well. He ran a 10, but visually,
he had nothing. Yeah,
and he's been the favorite in all three of his starts. So obviously, they have high expectations for this horse. I don't know. He's okay. I don't know if I want to go a short price horse here.
Okay,
but listen, he looks the best. If you had
he's better than the 4.
Yeah, with a gun to your head, you're betting this horse. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want? 2 10s or 2 13s? Come on now. All right. Breton's Baytown, a 50-1 shot. Also doesn't look good at all. Very slow.
Yeah.
And the 10 is Lordship. You got Chad Brown and Dylan Davis. One race on Lasix, a victory in Tampa, running a 16. So we know nothing about this horse, basically, except you're getting Dylan Davis and Chad Brown at a big price. And what have we said about that before? Always do it. If he's 12-1 or higher, put a couple of bucks on him.
He's also well bred. He's out of gun runner, so he could run all day long. Obviously, that's probably why they started him off in a route race in his first start. But it's tough to go from a maiden special weight into a grade 3 stake race.
What usually is the thinking from your experience on why a trainer would do such a thing?
Well, it depends on who the trainer is. If it's a guy like Chad Brown, he knows what he's doing, and obviously you have to respect it. That being said, I still think it's a bit of a jump up. Listen, if he ran 16-10, would you be shocked? No, I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest with you. But first of all, a 1.8 miles, the 10 post is not very good. It's actually pretty bad, to be honest with you. But I don't like this horse. Every horse is basically faster than him inside.
All right. So who are you going with, John?
I don't know. Honestly, Captain Cook is probably the right bet, but I'm in the mood for a price a little bit. So I think I may fool around with McAfee. The
virus.
Yeah, the other Dutra horse in the race. Let's go with the 5 over the 1, 4, and 8. 5 over the 1, 4, and 8. And obviously the 8's the horse to beat, but I'm looking for some value, so I went with the 5 over the 1, 4, and 8.
All right. Well, then I will join you. And
not only that, we're playing with house money here, so why not take a shot, right?
House money. And where's that little thing I've got here? I could be a little bit quicker with this next time. Where is it? Here it is. That's what we're playing with. Right there, baby. House money. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play the 3 Surfside Moon. So I'm also going to go with the long shot in the race. And I'm going to go over the 2, another long shot, the 8, and the 10. So I'm going to go 3 over 2, 8, 10. John is doing 5 over 1, 4, 8. If you joined us late and you just want to know what we did in race number 10, we both took the 4. John went 4 over 1, 5, 10. I went 4 over 7, 9. And coming up next week, it's already here. That's right. We've got the big Friday, Saturday combo, the Black Eyed Susan. One of the horses actually that we handicapped today won the Black Eyed Susan. I don't remember which one. I think it was the 10th race. I forget which horse it was.
Yes.
Anyway, that was last year. That horse won. So you got the Black Eyed Susan and 2 other Grade 3 stakes races on Friday. And obviously you've got the Preakness, including the UAE President's Cup. That's a Grade 1 race at Pimlico on Saturday, and a bunch of other graded stakes races on Saturday. So we have no idea what we're going to do, but hopefully we'll be able to do it early in the week as well. I mean, I have no idea if we'll, and I mean, I don't know when the sheets will be out, or the odds should be out early. So
maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe another live show. We'll play it by ear.
That's why you have to subscribe.
Right. Don't
And so
forget to hit subscribe. Correct.
And hit the bell.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Yes. John, appreciate it as always. Kenneth Groff, thank you. And thank everybody out there for joining us as always. John and I will be back again next week.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and be well, Greg.
You too. Thanks, John.